final year PhD student who's studying antiviral immunity, and today he'll be talking to us about Zika virus. So welcome, Gregorio.
Maybe I don't need a microphone, so fine like that. That's great. So first of all, I'd like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to come here today to talk a little bit about Zika virus. As you know, I'm a PhD student here in medical science, as I have said, and I really enjoy working with viruses. And my story with the virus actually started in Brazil. I'm Brazilian, and I'm coming from the Amazonia region, where we have the biggest forest in the world, tropical forest in the world. And when I was working there, we were isolating mosquitoes and trying to identify if there are any viruses circulating in these mosquitoes. And once we found that we had more than 200 different types of viruses circulating in Amazonia, but none of them were Zika. So if you have never heard about Zika, don't feel weird. I never heard about Zika as well. So Zika seems to be a virus that was introduced in Brazil recently. Most importantly, Zika was found in Africa since 1947, when it was first isolated, also from mosquitoes. And so far, it has never caused any major public health problems. Nobody knew that could infect pregnant women and cause microcephaly. But then in 2013, 2014, Brazil was hosting the World Cup. And during the World Cup, we believe there was a big flow of people coming to Brazil, and this could somehow bring the virus together. That, of course, is just a rough idea of how a virus could enter in a country. And especially in Brazil, it's a country that's very hot. It's very well adapted to these types of viruses. But the funniest thing is just 1 year later, a lot of babies were born with their heads smaller than the average. And they started associating this with the Zika infection. But there was just not enough epidemiological data to confirm this. So we still needed to confirm that experimentally. We needed to show in the lab, in a controlled environment, doing certain types of experiments, that this virus had or not the ability to infect the brains of the fetus in pregnant women. And that seems to be the case. After several reports from several independent laboratories in the world, it looks like there's a big correlation with Zika virus and microcephaly in several patients, especially in Brazil. So it looks like in Latin America, Brazil was one of the first countries to report cases of Zika, and that was triggering the alarm that the virus was the first time in Latin America and was possibly spreading throughout the country and neighboring countries as well, including the United States, that although it doesn't have the perfect climate for this, but also the country contains the mosquito. So I'm telling you about a lot of virus being transmitted by mosquito, but what is really funny about Zika is because Zika is a relative of another virus, very common virus called dengue. And for dengue, we never heard about any case of microcephaly or babies or case like that. And yeah, Zika is a weird one. It's one of the very first viruses within the family that can cause brain damage, especially in babies, in newborn babies. But what is very, very interesting is because now there is some certain evidence that Zika does not only care about mosquitoes, but possibly is also transmitted sexually. And although this evidence needs more epidemiological data to confirm that that's actually the case, in mice, in animals, in controlled environments, as I was telling you about, it looks like the virus can replicate very well in vagina and can damage the testes. So can cause infertility in mice as well. So that's another reason to trigger the alarm. We don't know yet if it is actually the case in humans, but at least in animal experimentation, that seems to be the case. Although, I will give you my fair opinion about this, I don't really think that Zika will be a threat for sexual transmission in the future, at least not at epidemiological reasonable levels. I think still, for you to have an outbreak from Zika, you still require the mosquito and the proper temperature for the mosquito to replicate and the virus to replicate there as well. And here in Oxford, in my PhD, I'm not really focusing only on Zika virus. Actually, I study how our body tends to recognize virus infection and respond against it. some of these viruses that cause disease, not only Zika but influenza and several other types, they are highly susceptible types of viruses because when they infect us, they can subvert our defense against them, and they can then replicate and cause disease. Actually, at this moment and during our life every day, we are being exposed to several types of viruses that will cause no harm to us. They will cause no harm to us, but viruses like Zika can subvert this immune response. And that's one of the things that I try to understand in the laboratory, how our Zika virus can hijack the cell machinery and replicate and produce more and more viruses. And it's particularly, I'm interested in the genetic material that the virus brings in. So when the virus infects a cell, it can release a molecule called RNA. In this case, Zika is an RNA virus. Here you have an example of a DNA, for example, and Zika virus is a different molecule that's similar to this one, that is RNA. All our cells in our body contains RNA as well. So how the immune system can differentiate what is an RNA from a virus and differentiate an RNA that's from our own cell. So that's basically what I'm trying to understand, and that's has been for the 4 years of my PhD so far. And we can distinguish that some of these RNAs, some of these molecules are very different, and they have different patterns, different molecular patterns. They are different from the RNAs from our cells. And we definitely also are very interested in how proteins of the virus that are produced from these RNAs can block innate immune signaling, and we have found some of these proteins that actually can directly block our immune defenses. And that's basically what I'm trying to do in the lab, and I think I'm happy to hear any comments or any questions you might have. Thank you.